Good evening and welcome to TMI Verona. I'm your host, Vendolio, and tonight we have a very special guest, the Prince of Verona, joining us from a remote location in the castle. On tonight's special episode, we are taking an in-depth look on Verona's infamous feuding families and the doomed duo, Romeo and Juliet.
First off, thank you for having me on the show. I'm a big fan of TMI Verona. Let me start off by addressing the frequently asked question you might be wondering. Why the Capulet and Montague families are fighting? Well, nobody really knows for sure. Why are they feuding is mysterious, and that becomes a teenage love story that ends in a massive tragedy.
So, you've been warned, and the story gets darker. Spoiler alert, they do not live happily ever after.
So you see, at first, Romeo thought he loved a girl named Rosalind, but she was giving him the cold shoulder, and he was bummed out. I hear it was you, Benvolio and Mercutio, who couldn't leave it alone, so you invited him to crash the Capulet's party.
Yes, Prince, that is true. We thought a party would do something good. But once he saw Juliet, he was like, Rosalind who?
From what I heard, they locked more than eyes just before the party was over. They locked lips, too.
Yes, Prince, that is true. And it was love at first sight. But once they found out that one was a Capulet and the other a Montague, they knew that drama would surely ensue.
So how the story goes the next day, Romeo went to see the friar and convinced him to marry him and Juliet. Well, meeting friar thought it may be a way to unite the families and stop senseless feuding, so he agreed to it.
I saw it all, and before the day was even done on their wedding day, our bud Mercutio died to the hands of Juliet's cousin Tybalt, and then in defense, Romeo killed Tybalt.
I told you all to stay away from each other, but you didn't listen. After all, I'm only prince and hold all authority all over Verona.
You may be right, we probably should have listened to you. I heard before Romeo fled Verona, he stopped by to give Juliet a farewell kiss, and
After Romeo fled, Juliet was broken-hearted, and she came back to Friar Lawrence for help. He has since confessed that he had gave her a potion to make her appear dead. After drinking it, her family found her lifeless body and didn't even bother to get a doctor to make sure she was okay. They sent her to the Capulet's tomb, and Friar Lawrence sent a letter to Romeo explaining what he had done.
but apparently Romeo did not get that letter. He went back to Verona, and because he thought his girl was dead, and when he got to the tomb and saw her, he decided he couldn't live without her, and drank poison. But of course, 3 minutes later, she woke up and found him dead, which led to her plunging his sword into her chest.
It did not end very well.
That was not the move. That ain't it, Chief.
And the moral of the story is,
Don't take advice from a friar? No, but seriously, don't judge people on what others tell you or what they think. Judge them on their character and their actions. And with that sage advice, we bid you farewell. Good night, Verona.